Well, welcome back. My next guest is Nestor Aparicio. Nestor, welcome in.
Dennis, how are you? Summer is certainly here. It's hot
So,
out. It's baseball, pennant race. I mean, all we're missing
yeah,
is Earl Weaver right now, right?
so Earl, the Duke of Earl, of course, Ravens rookies reported to camp, all but one actually. So the storylines are going to get written here very shortly. Lots of stuff up in the air.
Well, I guess for the Ravens, this is the time of year where you're like, all right, um, Southwest Airlines just put their January and February flights on sale.
Oh,
So
nice.
this is my annual time where I'm like, oh, Southwest is going to scout me to fly out of Phoenix on the Monday after Super Bowl. Oh, it's going to be $500 to get out. Okay, I see how this works. Maybe I'll spend another day in Phoenix. That would suck to have another day in Phoenix in February when it's 14 degrees here. So I was going through all of this, and I've had a room in Phoenix for 5 months. I booked my room, a year out to try to find a room, right? So I always think of it as a backup room. This is my
I got you.
inside poker on 28 years ago in the Super Bowls. And when I booked that flight, every single year I booked that flight. And usually it's not this early. Southwest is trying to get some money in the bank, by releasing flights. Usually they don't release these flights until football season, until September.
Mm-hmm.
You get a February flight. And so I booked it, and I thought, all right, so I'm flying to Phoenix on the 5th of February. They're going to play the Super Bowl on February 12th. Who's going to be there? I play that game every year. Who's really going to be there? Is it going to be us? Now, 2 of the years it's been us. About 7 or 8 of the years it could have been us, right? I mean, we've had our chances where you book it and you think it's
Of
us.
course.
Is it us this year? And I don't know. Like these seasons take on lives of their own. Right now, Lamar looks unsigned, very motivated. It looks like there's a fissure between him and the franchise right now because it's not done. I released that Andrew Brandt wrote just a brilliant because he's the most brilliant guy.
I saw the piece and I follow him because of you. So thank you.
Well, he's brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just a true inside poker. He's been an agent. He's been on the team side. He knows he knows all the rules, all the regulations, all the red tape, all the contract terminology, all the salary. He knows all of that. And tagging and franchising and transition tag, like all that stuff. He knows all that. And he's kind of shocked by this. And I think the Ravens were a little shocked. And part of the Ravens playing offense on this was saying, well, Lamar didn't want a contract. Okay. Okay. Now Lamar's holding out of camp. And Lamar's got an I want money on my Twitter, right?
Hey, he'd have taken that Deshaun Watson contract in the heartbeat, wouldn't he? So to say he didn't want a contract, it's not accurate. We can all agree upon that. He didn't want a lesser contract. He didn't want a commensurate contract. He didn't want a contract that he thought was fair. Right there's a word for it. It's fair. What is fair? Well, like you're right there. You started by saying you never know how the seasons are going to unfold. There was nothing to indicate in 2012 that the Ravens were going to be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of those seasons. A lot of things had to go right, including some luck.
But they knew they had enough talent. Did they have enough talent?
But you need some breaks too. You need a measure of health, a couple of good calls, and you need Lady Luck to be on your side.
You need Ray Rice to convert a 4th and 29 on a swing pass.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't happen, they don't make the playoffs. It's one play here. That's why it's such a wonderful game of inches, right? The one false start. Who was it? It was
Orlando Brown Sr. jumped at the line of scrimmage against the Titans. Yes. It moved the ball. Remember, it moved the ball up. He made the kick, and we got eliminated. That was the Anthony Wright year. We were definitely winning the Super Bowl with him, right?
Was it Justin Houston who jumped offside in the AFC Championship game that sent the Patriots to the Super Bowl instead of the Chiefs? I think it was on a 4th down play, gave the Patriots a 1st down. There's plays like that change the fortune of teams. Just one play at the end of the game. Now then you talk about the coin flips, right? The coin flips that determines who gets the
we had a special teamer in the AFC Championship game against the Steelers the first time in 2008 that it was a special teamer that got a penalty.
Yes.
That really, really screwed us. A guy I can't even remember his name that it was so long ago, right?
No, you're right. You're right.
Flacco threw the pick to Palomalu, but it didn't have to turn out that way.
No, you're right about that. So yeah, it's one play here, one play there. So you do need an element of luck to get to the show, but again, luck is when hard work and preparation meets opportunity, and the harder you work and the better prepared you are. You throw in a measure of health and some good coaching, and the Zebras help out as well, and that's what determines who gets to the Super Bowl. It's not
Well,
always the best team.
I think back to 01, right? And I'm about to release Purple Rain 2 next week with video and audio and all the stuff that I did with Purple Rain 1. And just thinking about these years and thinking about things that could go right or things that could go wrong or where that fork in the road might be for you. The adversity all these teams overcome when they eventually win, right? But a lot of it, and I think about the 83 Orioles in this way, and I definitely think of the 2013 Ravens in this way, right? A lot of disappointment, right? A lot of frustration in regard to those 83 Orioles from 79, 81, those disappointing years. We're getting to that point now, right? Where Randall Cunningham, Dan Marino, having won some games, gotten into the playoffs. Are you angry enough that you're going to get there and finally ring the bell, as they say, right? This group of Ravens, Humphrey, I don't know whether Stanley's coming back or not. I've written him off. If Ronnie Stanley goes out and plays a season as an all-pro top half left tackle I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's to the Ravens' detriment, right? Like I think about all the things that can go wrong here. Dobbins talking smack that he's going to be okay. The Gus bus, I don't know how long we've talked about, not Dobbins, but Gus, Lamar, Humphrey, Queen's now down for 3 years of this, right? Some of these guys have had these disappointments, whether it was being around when Marshall Yanda was here and when Orlando Brown Jr. was here. But Mark Andrews is a guy who's had a lot of disappointment here, right? That we're getting up on a stacking of 3, 4, 5 years where the window was there because Lamar was young and sexy and can run and pass and all that. And they had salary cap room to go out and pluck Marcus Peters and pay him, to go out and pay a safety and draft a safety, right? So they've had all this happen. Now, where the anger that I have seen, the frustration of Lamar pounding the turf when he's tackled short of a first down, and seeing Marlon Humphrey put on his $1,000 suits in the locker room and like a professional wrestler and talk about we choked. And, and I watch his pursuits out on social media as well. These guys that are full of this angst and this want, and I got a Lamborghini and I got 3 Porsches in the garage, and I just got back from Bimini and I've got 50 million in the bank and they're about to give me 300 million more. Then you got to go win football games on Sunday as a 25-year-old when you're rich and you're made and you're either under contract or soon to be. This isn't, nobody's poor and hungry here anymore, but are they determined? You know what I mean? Are they determined to make this happen? And that's where the leadership steps in. That's where I always love seeing veteran players. Maybe in this case it's Josh Bynes, who was around the first time 10 years ago when we won as a, kid Slappy sitting on the end of the bench, hoping to get his shot, right? I want to see veterans come in here and keep this, like the way Goose was. When I think of Goose, I think of Burnett, I think of Sam Adams, I think of Rod Woodson, I think of veteran Shannon Sharp, I think of veteran leaders. Now some of those guys are special. They're Hall of Famers. I don't know where we are, but Calais Campbell, the Hall of pretty good, right?
There's Houston, one right there.
Houston, as you pointed out, a guy that has some want in him, the way Eric Weddle had that want in him, the way Steve Smith had that want. We didn't get up the mountain. We didn't get up the mountain, but those guys wanted to win more than Earl Thomas did.
No, Calais Campbell is the poster child, so to speak, in terms of the want. The wily, crafty veteran who's paid his dues, Hall of very good, and perhaps a Super Bowl victory propels him into the Hall of Fame. He has an outstanding season, leads the team to catch lightning in a bottle. He gets that Super Bowl ring. He certainly enhances his chances of wearing that yellow jacket someday.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot at stake here for everybody. I mean, Harbaugh's got plenty of money, but if he gets a second ring,
that's Hall of Fame too. There you go.
He may get invited to Canton at this point.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. You have legacy players, Marcus Peters, all those interceptions. I wrote about it a couple of years ago. He is on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Nobody plucks the ball out of the air like this young man does. So he's getting up there in age, 29, 30 years old, but hopefully he has plenty left in the tank. But you do have you have a bunch of legacy players on his squad. Nothing that bodes well for the Ravens.
Well, it does if they're healthy. I mean, last year, look, the last time I spent time with Harbaugh was at the pool where Bisciotti blew me off down at Palm Beach and refused to take questions from real media members, local media members. And Harbaugh was apologetic about last year because they really felt like they had built something last year that would have been credible.
Well,
that would have been credible enough to give Joe Burrow a hard time.
They would have, but you got 25, 30 players injured. Now, none of us can see this coming. It would be horror of horrors if it happened again 2 years in a row. None of us can foresee all these injuries. All it takes is
again. Number 8, right? If number 8's hurt, they're not winning anything.
That's the whole key right there. They were 8-3 with number 8 performing miracles, right? They were a false field goal 8-3, but they were still 8-3 before he got hurt. So just shows you how talented he is as well, Nest. And not, he's got plenty left in the tank. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas. I don't think that chip will ever go away.
Do you think paying him makes it worse? If they gave him $232 million and made him the prettiest girl at the ball and then said, Lamar, here's the money. Steve doesn't care about the money. It's going to go to somebody. It's a salary cap hit. DaCosta might lose his job in 27 if they go 3-13 because the kid can't play anymore. He won't be a kid anymore at that point, right? But are they going to win a championship with him? Do they go to bed every night feeling that way? And are they all in on him? And if they are they going to pay him? And Andrew Brandt's like, he's your quarterback. Like, are you going to play games with your quarterback? I mean, he's your franchise guy. You're either going to marry him or you're going to divorce him. But you can't do that in July. You can't divorce him in July or August. And you can't underpay him by $1 million a week every week or $1.5 million every week. In his mind, I don't. And again, I keep going back to him. He's such a unique kid because he's out on social media flitting around. He's not wired like other quarterbacks, not playing like other quarterbacks, doesn't have an agent. All of this uniqueness that makes him unique. I really do wonder if he just wants to play for the Dolphins one day or wants to play, that he sees himself as the chosen one, like LeBron James. He has to go somewhere else to do something else for somebody else, that he sees himself in a different uniform. I don't know. I don't see this tremendous commitment to Baltimore or here or this. I don't see that from him. I see him as a kid who wants to win and become a billionaire. And I think the more we've seen him open up, he's more thinking like Jay-Z, or like he thinks more like an NBA player. I don't think he thinks purple for life, Baltimore for life, any more than Kevin Durant did, or any of the brethren of this era, a 24-year-old modern athlete that I'm getting $232 million, Eric DaCosta, and if you're not giving it to me, I'll get it over across the street. And I think it's unfortunate that that's where it is, but it feels to me like that's where it is when he's skipping OTAs.
But I think you just hit on a key here. I think that's the NBA effect on the NFL, and it's not unique to Lamar Jackson. I think as time goes on, you'll see this NBA effect on the players and you also have a fan base. Fan bases, they follow the player versus the team. They're fans in this town and out of town. They love Lamar Jackson, don't necessarily love the Ravens. So they're going to buy his jersey no matter where.
Falcon jersey on next year.
It doesn't matter.
He puts red on, they'll be Falcon.
It won't matter. It won't matter. So that's just a new trend in the NFL, but the Ravens can't win without him. So that's the crux for them. So if I were them, I'd put the ring on the finger. I'd make the deal. I'd sign the contract. They made a deal with Joe Flacco after he won the Super Bowl. It didn't quite pan out for them. But that's the danger. You can't win without a quarterback. And this franchise cannot afford years of what we talked about, Kyle Bowler experiments and all the other also-ran quarterbacks.
Well, Dennis, they're winning right now, and there's not real enthusiasm for the team in the way there used to be with Purple Flamingos out and seats being sold. I mean, they threw me out of my seats kind of famously, so I don't know who's going to be sitting in my seats this year, but it's not going to be me.
Changed. Maybe nobody, because things have changed. The PSLs, I mean, what's your PSL worth? Nothing, right? You got to give away your PSLs. PSLs used to be the hottest thing, used to be a waiting list for them. Now, whatever we paid for them, they were inflated when they won a 2012 Super Bowl. And it's all been downhill in terms of the value of the PSLs ever since then.
Well, if your cars were selling for less, next week, you'd know you have a brand problem. Ford would have a problem. Mr. Coons would have a problem. Dennis would have a problem. The industry would have a problem. There'd be a problem. So the fact that real fan Dan's out there contorting with his shirt off, and all I see is half empty seats since the Wembley knee.
100%.
And we're 5 years into this at this point. Dennis, for me, the baseball thing will be interesting because we haven't had that, right? We haven't had the Orioles playing meaningful games on 100-degree nights because the Ravens can't play anything meaningful until September 11th. But the meaningful things that can happen to the Ravens were the things that happened to J.K. Dobbins in the Commanders game last year, whatever they were called last year. And injuries in these preseason games. Luke and I started talking about this. And I looked at it. I'm like, all right, they got this first game against the Titans on the 11th. Because I'm doing the Crab Cake Tour, right? So on the 11th, I'm probably going to get on a checker spot and make that my brewery because it's right in front of the stadium and probably do a show that day. So I got the Titans game. We have 3 preseason games. We all bitched about the preseason games. We wanted them to go away, and now they're away. We're like, oh, we only have 3 of them. Okay, when are they? And then they play they play in Arizona August, like on a Sunday night. They play in Arizona. And I think it's a national game. And, Kyler Murray versus Lamar. Oh, they're not going to play.
No one cares about preseason games. And if I'm John Harbaugh, I would hate to tell Steve Bisciotti why he was playing J.K. Dobbins in a meaningless game where he tore his ACL.
Oh, in the first play of the game, running up the middle on a draw play, it would look like an exhibit, look like a scrimmage.
Don't do it. You don't play your start. I wouldn't play my starters at all. Just like college football, just start the damn season.
Well, here's where we are. We got 3
prices.
games playing, and Luke and I are wondering whether anybody's going to play and what the value of covering these games are.
Let me ask you this: if they just got rid of the 3 preseason games and just raised the price of the regular season tickets, not many people would blink. No one would care. If I'm paying $2,000 a season, right, for my 2 tickets,
and you're not going in August,
I'm not going. I don't care. I'm already paying $2,000, $1,000 a piece for my seats. Correct?
Yeah.
That expense is there. I can't even give my preseason tickets away. So I understand I might sell some peanuts and popcorn, whatever, but you're still selling them at a half-empty stadium. So who cares? Raise my prices, keep my prices the same or raise them. I don't care, but get rid of the 3 preseason games.
Well, the issue is really tearing up your season when you lose Lamar Jackson, or in the case, listen, I was in Atlanta with my wife eating some chicken wings, drinking a beer right in that club level when Michael Vick got assaulted by Dallas Thomas.
That was their season. They were done. They were when Michael Vick went down, they were done. But this season, if they were just going to open up against the New York Jets, and that's it, I'm all about that. I don't care about the 3 preseason seats. I don't need to see the undrafted free agents.
I would really love to sit with John Harbaugh in the modern era, because I sat with Marvin Lewis and Jack Del Rio and all those guys and say, what value do these games really have? What value does it have for your team to get on an airplane, tear up the environment, fly into Arizona, to land, to play for 14 million people on a 114-degree day in a blimp, right?
Just play ball, right? Just like Alabama does it, USC does it, Georgia does it, Penn State, Maryland. Just play ball. Don't worry about. You can have scrimmages with other squads, whatever. You can go up to Philadelphia or down to DC, bang up against the other guys for practice. But when you start the season, just start the damn season.
I'm looking to see if Nasty Nestor's pitching this weekend here, for the Yankees. Yankees are very, very coy. How do you bet on these baseball games when you don't know who's pitching? I mean, as we're sitting here right now, it's Thursday morning. They're playing at 1 o'clock, and the Yankees are playing the Astros. They've had 4 days to figure out who's pitching, and there's all this gamesmanship. It's this hardball thing, right? Like we're injured, we're not injured. Don't ask. We're not telling. All that. The Yankees playing the Astros. They don't have pitchers listed 4 hours before game time. I'm thinking, I thought you guys were in a gambling business, baseball. What are you doing?
Well, I guess maybe that's how they keep their eyes on the gambling sites, by not announcing it at the last minute. Follow the money, Ness.
All I want to know is if Nasty Nestor's pitching at Camden Yards here for the now 500 relevant Baltimore Orioles. If I can see Adley Rutschman get into the box and take cuts against Nasty Nestor. That's what I want. That's what I'm here for. That's kind of baseball.
All right, from your lips to God's ear. Nestor, as always, I appreciate your time. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the heat here in lovely Baltimore, and we'll chat it up again next week.
Don't be mad at me because it's football season and I want to talk about the Yankees and the Orioles having a key pennant race weekend at Camden Yards. I mean, if I don't mention it, who will? Who will?
Not many. Everybody gonna be down the ocean, hon, getting the crab cake and getting into that salt water.
Everybody's getting their purple flamingos out for Wednesday when camp opens.
That's right. There he goes, Nestor J.F. Priest here, 1570 AM. WNST will take a quick break and come back right after this.